Hello peoples of the internet, it's Mo, and I am back. I've been gone for a little bit, I think it's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks since I uploaded, and as you can see, I have a different background right now because I have moved. So, as some of you know, I had been living in Asia, and I've recently moved back to the US, and so now I have my books back, which is exciting, so maybe you'll actually see some physical books on this channel every once in a while. Yeah, so I'm just kind of trying to get back into the swing of things here, still getting unpacked and whatnot. The books obviously were like one of the first things to get unpacked, but yeah, moving on. I've read some things since I saw you guys last, so I'm going to cut this into sort of a series of little wrap-ups so that I don't have one like ginormously long one. And so this is stuff that I read probably like 3 weeks ago that we're starting out with right now, and I'll just get into them without any further ado. So the first thing that I read that I have not yet talked to you guys about was The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. This is a short horror novella from back, I think 1920s, was when he was writing, and I think this is the third Blackwood that I've read. No, it was the second, because I read another one since then. And it does involve willows, and it's sort of in Blackwood style. There's a lot of nature involved, but it's more of a thing where the characters are trying to convince themselves that something is actually going wrong and it's not just all in their heads, sort of type of psychological horror versus big bad monsters. And I enjoyed it. I really like Blackwood's style and his voice, so far as the writing itself is concerned, and I liked the story in this one as well. The next thing I read was Rhapsodyi by China Miéville. This was my first Miéville novel. I've been meaning to read something of his for a while, and I finally got around to this one, and I'm so glad that I did because I really enjoyed it. Rhapsodyi is Miéville's retelling of Moby Dick, but sort of like steampunky with trains, and there's a lot of world building. It's a little bit of... It didn't bother me coming into it and not really understanding everything that was going on, because he doesn't really do all of the let me explain the world to you in the first chapter thing. You just kind of have to pick it up as you go along. But I really enjoyed the writing style and just the sorts of ideas that he wove in there, and I really liked the ending and how he pulled it all together. So I am looking forward to picking up another Miéville novel soon. The next thing that I read, or rather that I finished, was the Iliad by Homer. I listened to this on audiobook. I don't remember the name of the translator and the person who did the narration right now, but I really enjoyed it, so I will leave that info down below if you want to check it out. This one took me a little longer, partially just because it was on audio, and I usually just listen to those while I'm doing other things, like, you know, washing the dishes. Which I don't take that much time doing, so it spreads my audiobooks out a little bit. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the narrator did a fantastic job, and I'm going to be needing to read a little bit more in the future. I'm hopefully going to be getting the Odyssey coming up here fairly soon, and then I'm going to have to pick up the Aeneid too, because apparently a lot of what is culturally considered to be part of that story isn't actually in those two, because the Aeneid sort of fills in the middle section. So yeah, I'll maybe be picking up that one also by the end of the year. We shall see. After that, I picked up The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. If you watch Victoria over at A Hermit's Progress, she talks about this book all the time. It's like her favorite book, and she just loves it. And it popped up as being on sale for like $2 on Kindle a little while back, and I'm like, well, I can't not buy it now. So I did, and I read it, and it was really, really good. It was not by any means an easy read. It's a fairly long book. I want to say it was about 600 pages, but it's very dense in the way that it's written. It's got, if you don't know what it's about, The Name of the Rose is a historical novel set during the Inquisition at a monastery in, I want to say Switzerland? I don't remember right now exactly, but it's a murder mystery, essentially. So they're trying to solve these murders that have happened before the Inquisition shows up. And There's a lot of medieval politics going on. There's a lot of allusions to other things. You get biblical allusions as well as to other religious texts, and things just randomly show up in Latin, although none of the Latin is stuff that you need to understand to read the story. Yeah, so I would say that it is very dense, but it was also very good. It's very philosophical, theological, it's got lots of politics in it. If that's the type of thing that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely pick this one up. It might take you a little while to get through it, but it's worth the read, and I definitely plan on rereading it in the future. And the last book that I'm going to be talking about in this video was, I read The 12 Chairs by Ilya Ilf, and this is a Russian novel from the 1920s, and it is a satire. And the premise of it is that there is a nobleman who, well, he had been a nobleman prior to the revolution, and all of his property had been seized by the government, and he discovers when his mother-in-law dies that she had hidden her jewels in the upholstery of some of the furniture before the government had seized their property, and so he decides to go off on a quest to find the furniture and get the jewels back and sort of be a wealthy man once again. And he falls in with this con man fairly early on in his adventures, and it's a satire, so it is very humorous, but at the same time it's talking about a lot of political and social things that were going on at the time. I think there were parts of it that I really liked and parts of it that I didn't like as much, and while I did enjoy reading it, I didn't have that sort of pull that kept me going, so I found myself like pausing and setting it down a lot, so it took me a while to get through this one. And I wasn't sure how I felt about the ending. I felt that it was a very fitting ending, but it upset me, shall we say. So yeah, I think I gave this one 3.5 stars. If you are interested in maybe picking up some Russian literature that isn't super heavy, to start out rather than like going with War and Peace, I do think that this would be a good place to do that. It's also a good look at Russia right after the revolution in that time period. So yeah, those are the things that I read like 3 weeks ago. I will be back again soon in another video to talk about stuff that I read during Booktubeathon. Yeah, so I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought of them, what you guys are reading right now. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and I will be seeing you guys again soon. Happy reading!